Noel Nation, welcome into a special episode of the Renegade Rundown. Here we are on a Wednesday night, 7:05 Eastern. My beautiful co-host, as always, Jen Santi 1890 on X. Here, just like every episode, regular of the program, big game, James Coleman. Give it to the fullback, uh, the guy that put that thing over there, over the line against Miami to get it done. And kind of the guest of honor tonight, a guy that we're just super pumped to have on. All Things Covered podcast with Patrick Petereson, second round pick of the Pittsburgh Steelers, a legend in Tallahassee in the 850 area code, Florida State Seminole that played with Bobby Bowden alongside our friends James Coleman. Bryant McFadden, what's going on, man? Thanks for joining the show, man. How's it going today?
Man, I'm going pretty good. I'm enjoying myself. Thank you for getting me on. James, always great to see my guy. You know what I mean? Hearing pretty good things about your show. So I'm excited to talk some no ball, most importantly, and just, have some fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can't wait to get this started and get to talk about it. I'd be remiss before we get into the portal stuff and all that. We had a little conversation in the pre-meeting there. The news that's kind of broke the internet, Nick Saban hanging up the whistle and the headset, man. He's calling it quits. It's official. I think I've seen enough credible people reporting on it. All of a sudden, it makes sense why so many of these Alabama guys, frontline guys like a Malik Benson, who is penciled in to be kind of the future at the X over there at Alabama, becomes available. And he's in Florida State. You get an Earl Little Jr. You're looking at TJ Ferguson probably jumping in. So it was kind of a head scratcher, just immediately how many people left. So you think maybe they had an idea of what's going on. Kevin Steele retires, like a month ago. Now looking back on it, the writing's on the wall, but we'll let you take it away with your first thoughts, man. What do you think? Nick Saban hangs him up.
Well, I was surprised, just like the majority of college football fans. It seemed like he still had that fire left inside of him to coach, to be motivated, to try to go hunt down championships. Came very, very close. They lost in the Rose Bowl to Michigan. But you look at the team that he had returning, even with some transfers, as you mentioned, still a high-level team. I mean, the quarterback was returning, Jalen Milroe. He really improved throughout the year from the beginning of the season to the end. He was two different players. You know what I mean? Not the same guy. So he was returning. They always have talent there. The cupboard is never bare at Alabama. Another outstanding recruiting year. They got some transfers into the building as well. And you look at the new landscape within the SEC, adding Oklahoma and Texas, the attention was going to be there. So I felt like they had another talented team that try to have championship aspirations led by Nick Saban. So this clearly hit me from out of left field. I wasn't expecting this. But then also, too, when I think about it, guys, the nature in which Nick Saban created his foundation in college football is no longer. When you talk about just recruiting off the brand, off the coaching, off your legacy, the wins, the championships, it's no longer all about that. Now it's more about NIL opportunities. And then comes football. You know what I mean? So once upon a time, I know when I came out, the same probably could be said for James. You wanted to know exactly the system, the coaching, the depth chart. You know what I mean? The national stage. Will I get an opportunity to be seen throughout the country? Now, it probably the first thing people talk about, well, what NIL you got for us? You know what I mean? So understanding and knowing where Nick Saban came from and how the college landscape, how it used to be compared to how it is now, it could be a lot more fatiguing. So, we're seeing guys who are starters transfer from programs, from high-level programs, and you were a starter. Like, that doesn't make any sense. But as I mentioned, I'm surprised, but he will go down as the best to ever do it, easily.
Yeah, I actually was trying to put together a trailer for this thing. It didn't end up happening. My video editing skills still need a lot of work, but one of the clips I was going to use, you and Patrick were talking about kind of how what Saban is and has been the past 4 or 5 years. That was Bobby Bowden. That was the guys, that you guys played for. So I thought that was really poignant seeing that, but ended up not getting it on here. But to relate it to Florida State, I kind of talked about it a minute ago, but I want to hear y'all's opinion on it. Like, there's going to be major ripples across Florida State. Do you think Alabama, does it get down to Mike Norvell in the coaching search? Do you think could we possibly lose some assistants? I just feel like there's so much that can change. Like you mentioned it, Bryant, they had the number 2 recruiting class in the country, 3 5-stars, 19 4-stars. So it just goes back to, even though it's just an Alabama thing, we're going to feel the effects of this thing for sure.
Yeah, I know for you guys, I monitor, anytime there's a coaching change, I always go out to Vegas because Vegas is always right. Anytime they have a list of potential candidates and the odds, Vegas is usually right. They're more right than wrong. And of course, Dan Lannon is the favorite, followed by Dabo Swinney. But on a lot of, betting lists coming from Vegas, I see Mike Norvell's name on there. You know what I mean? So seeing that, it's almost like, okay, the respect that college football has for Norvell is now finally being seen, because we've been seeing it since day one. You know what I mean? Being, a nose and really following the program. But now other people are starting to see it, because for him to be on that list, and like I said, who knows how accurate it is, but I know Vegas is more right than wrong. That's a telling sign of the respect that Norvell has achieved, accomplished, created in the short period of time that he's been in Tallahassee. But I'll say this, just leave our coach alone. Let's leave him out of that whole foolishness. Y'all go ahead and play around with Dan Lannon. Y'all want to go ahead and put more pressure on Phil Knight. Once again, losing another coach, go ahead and do so. But leave our coach alone. If y'all want to go up to Clemson and play around with Dabo Swinney and get him out from the kid from Spartanburg, that'd be okay. But leave Mike Norvell be. Leave him be. Leave him alone.
Yeah, for sure. Every source or kind of people every person I talk to close to the program that I've gotten their ear, I ask, so what's Norvell's aspirations for the NFL? I've heard from different, it's like, that's the one thing I think about, man. It's like, because I want him here as long as possible. Give us at least 10 years and I'll be happy, because, yeah, you hit the nail on the head. And when you talk about how college football is changing, I'm always talking about Mike Norvell is like kind of seeing ahead of a curve that other people aren't even seeing it there. And we're seeing it again with how he's here in that portal. And I'd like to hear, James, I don't know if you have a question for Bryant, or like could just expand on that. How is kind of the new age of college football really fitting what Mike Norvell's doing with the portal and moving forward, and how everything's different? Finishing second in high school recruiting now is almost as important as the kids you land.
Yeah, I think what you've seen them do is one of the beautiful things. We're talking about Bobby, then you talk about Saban. Bobby came in, and the landscape at the time was, we're going to get big guys, and we're going to just get we're just going to get earth movers. And what Bobby did was brought, along with those guys down south, brought a speed to the game, and you can't hit what you can't catch. It gets to you before you. So, and what happened was entire conferences adapted to the style of play that Florida State had. It was innovation. I remember, and B-Mac could probably attest to this, you would see NFL coaches not come to scout us. They would come during the spring to watch, to learn about some of the different things, as well as other teams would come and learn about the innovations and what they did. Now, when you look at what Saban was able to do, having done well in the SEC at LSU, gone to the NFL, Saban was the first person to truly expand the coaching staffs. Because if you look at the NFL, you've got your position coach, then there's an assistant to that, and then there's people who break down film, as well as your coordinators. There's so many people that are getting so much information. Well, Saban was one of the first people to kind of start doing that here on the college level, and it was just the amount of staff, hiring coaches that were getting fired as analysts so they can still keep their salary, but they're coming on and scouting us as an opponent. What am I weak at? What did you attack what did you see? Getting information to try to continue to make himself stronger. Again, adapting to the times and the landscape. And when you look at what Mike Norvell's doing, he's adapting to the recruiting landscape. He's a young coach. He's got a lot of energy. You hire a GM, and so you have a guy who's actively looking at college football, kind of like player development guys in the NFL. Your Derek Rays are looking at what's out there, what could potentially leave, who do we have good relationships with, so that if they do hit the portal, boom, we already know what we want with this guy. We know how this guy fits into our scheme. We know how to develop these guys. It helps for the errors that somebody might have in the actual high school recruiting part, as people, it might have passed them by. And I'm not saying it has or hasn't, but when you listen to our fan base, people aren't happy that Odell ain't out there kicking the tires on the tackles like he used to. They're not necessarily happy with what Randy's doing. But when you look at what they develop, okay, well, we go and we miss on a kid here. We go get a kid and bring them in, Odell's going to make them into a draftable player. So there's so many different ways to do it, and they're learning it and they're moving. And something that I've always said about Mike is Mike doesn't make the same mistake twice. Like, he made a mistake when he first came in, didn't have enough Florida cats to recruit Florida. That man made sure that was changed the next season. And then every year he's bringing on more guys to get an understanding of the landscape in which he's into. So I think that kind of primes him, especially when you see how we went undefeated this year. Going in, filling the spots, seeing what the recruiting class was for 24, looking at what it's like moving into 25 and the potential in the battles we got. Saban might have just helped us with a huge battle here in Jacksonville. I've been talking to my guy a little bit, so we may have more of an inroad now. But
certain wide receiver,
it's not Spanish, but it's another one of them languages.
That's right.
But you see him moving forward with that. So once you kind of understand it, you can kind of lay the land for the next 10 to 15 years. And when we sit back and we look about Bama in 2009, people thought Bama was a dead program, was a dinosaur of a program. This man came in, flipped it, and made it into a powerhouse a lot quicker than what we did over here at Florida State. But we also didn't have a nationwide a nationwide pandemic, which I always tell people, I don't care how prepared you are. Nobody has in their coaching book, how do you coach when the world shuts down? Like, what do you do? Like, how do you prepare your team? How do you develop that? So Mike, with some of the hurdles that he's had to do, get over, and what he's accomplished is actually pretty impressive.
If you didn't have anything on that, do you have a question for Bryant? I know you've been awful quiet up there, Jen.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, like I said, I live in Memphis, so I watched Mike at Memphis, and what he did here was beyond amazing. I mean, I've never seen a coach leave a program in the shape that he left it in that was so good, and the fans still adore him. Like, I see Noel stuff everywhere here now. Memphians have become, secondary Noel fans. Like, that's the way it is. They support everything he does. And to me, that just shows what a good guy he is and what we got in Mike Norvell. And so, yeah, I agree. I think he's on the list. And that does show respect. And I noticed that there are 2 coaches that are in the state of Florida that are not listed on that list. So
you can't blame them.
I'll use that as a trolling moment for myself. But yeah, for me, I don't think it will end up with Mike. Like I said, I think it's going to be Dan Lanning. And I don't think it's really particularly close. I feel terrible for Oregon fans. This is going to be the 3rd time, but when Lanning was at Georgia, I think that's where it started. I think that's where Bama started keeping that eye on him. And when he went to Oregon, he wanted to build that resume. That's what he was looking to do, and he did it. And I don't think he turns down Bama. I think it's going to be a hard thing for him to do, to leave Oregon, but I don't see it happening. And I do think the number 2 choice for Alabama is going to be Dabo Swinney. I do.
Did you have a question for Bryant, or?
No, tell me, what do you think about that? What I just said, like, do you see Dabo maybe being an option for Alabama?
So Dabo has a clause in his contract with Clemson that he recently signed. I think his buyout is $60 million or something like that. It's 60 between 60, 70 million. Don't quote me, but it's north of 50 million, if I'm not mistaken. But there's a clause, and I don't know how accurate this is also, so don't quote me word for word, but there's a clause that is stated if he was to leave Clemson to go to Alabama, the buyout is ×5 or ×3.
Wow.
Really?
I had heard something. I kind of knew where you were going there, but I didn't realize that was it. But yeah, I believe that, because that's been the rumor. He's a Bama walk-on wide receiver, so that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and Dabo, especially go back 4 years ago, he was one of the hottest coaches in college football, right behind Nick Saban before Kirby Smart did what he did over the last few years. So, 4 or 5 plus years ago, Dabo Swinney was right there. And of course, his Alabama ties. But yeah, I read something like that. I don't know how accurate it was, but of course, he has a hefty buyout. But if he leaves to go to Alabama, I think it's like times 3 or times 5. So I don't know. We know, when it comes to donors and boosters, whatever it takes, especially if you're Alabama, you don't want to miss a beat. Because as James mentioned, back when I came out of high school, I didn't even consider Alabama. I didn't even think about going to visit Alabama. People forget about those dog years back in the early 2000s, late 90s, where Alabama wasn't even a second or third thought in the SEC. So it seems like it was a long time ago, but those were the years where Alabama was like in the middle tier at best in the SEC. Another name that no one is really thinking about or really mentioned based on what I've seen, on social media. But what about DeMeco Ryans?
Interesting.
All right, he played at Alabama. He understands the Alabama way. Now, me personally, I would never leave the NFL, especially if I'm doing well, to go down to college.
Yeah, I was about to say I haven't been I've been so wrapped up in FSU. Like, what position is he? Is he a coordinator this year in the NFL?
Him out of there.
DeMeco's the head coach.
He's the head coach this year.
He's with the Texans. He's with the Texans.
Okay, so he got the Texans job this year. Get the hell out of there!
Get him out of there. He's doing too well. Can't believe
He's done a phenomenal job with the rookie quarterback. They won the division because Coleman's Jacksonville Jaguars laying down last week against Tennessee. The players clearly they following him. He's a leader of men. He went to Alabama. I think DeMeco was drafted in the 06 or 07 draft out of Alabama. Played linebacker. Super young, relatable, SEC guy. But as I stated, I don't know too many coaches that are successful in the National Football League currently in the playoffs, competing for a Super Bowl, that would leave after 1 year. Now
that front office is gonna mess that thing up. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, but I'm saying if you Alabama, if you're a donor, a booster, a fan, and you see the Dan Lannings of the world and Dabo Swinney, man, it's nothing better than bringing someone who definitely was a part of the program. Dan Lanning was there as a GA. Dabo played; he was a walk-on, but DeMeco was a guy, a dude for the program. So I'm just thinking out loud. Clearly, I haven't really seen anything significantly with DeMeco's name tied to Alabama with the news today, because he's getting ready for a playoff game against the Cleveland Browns in Houston this weekend. But who knows?
Yeah, what a success story. What a success story.
He's really good.
James, I did hear you earlier, and you mentioned a dark horse candidate, and I agree with you on that. I 100% agree with you on that dark horse candidate of Deion Sanders.
She heard the joke.
I do, though. He wants that job.
No doubt.
Yeah. Now, will he get it? No. He's not going to get it. But you're going to see, I think you're going to see on First Take. And
who was the dark horse?
Deion Sanders.
Prime time.
Yeah, I think you're going to see, though, is like ESPN First Take, and then you'll see Skip's show and all them start promoting it. And I think this is just a promotional thing. So guys, that's not going to happen. But I do agree with you that that's going to be something that's pushed. I think it is.
It'll definitely be a talking point.
Because it's going to get clicks. That'll get clicks. That'll get people to watch. It'll get, people riled up and everything. But yeah, I think, I'm saying Dan Lanning right now, but I do like DeMeco Ryans. That's a pretty interesting one. I need to check into that. I don't know. Do I think Mike Norvell leaves? If he was offered Alabama, I think that's a hard thing to say no to. I think it's going to be hard for anybody. But also keep an eye on Steve Sarkisian at Texas.
Yeah, for sure.
I think what people got to realize is that, again, what Saban's greatness is he forced people to adapt and innovate.
Yep.
And pump more money strategically into programs. In particular, what we had to do at Florida State. If you look at everything that Jimbo was doing, Jimbo was just a jerk at times with his delivery, but he wasn't wrong with some of the things that he stated. Like, he wasn't wrong about needing a football-only facility. He wasn't wrong about needing this, needing a private jet, investing in recruiting. I remember a lot of the time, and I actually had a teammate of mine, I'll be forgetting names, Stanford Samuels, who was on staff. He was telling me, he was like, James, every time he goes to ask for a raise, nobody asks about the other things that were inside of the raise. They just look at his number and don't look that he asked for X amount of jobs. I forgot what they call state workers, temp workers, but basically to make an analyst, like create new jobs, pay my guys more money, help me get this. So, and we all remember not Chip Kelly, Charles Kelly, and how we hated that he kept getting raises, but he couldn't fire Charles Kelly and pay what the going rate at the time was, $500,000 to a coordinator, if we're used to paying $250,000 for a coordinator. He knew it would never fly, but you could ask what you were already paying, and they did good enough to be able to get the bonuses, to inflate the staff, to be able to make the moves, things that Saban just went and did. But now we have a competent athletic director that's in conjunction with great boosters that I do think will come in and going to make it very difficult to go and make that move just without doing it, because another set of expectations comes when you follow the legend. But I think knowing who Norvell's agent is and actually getting a chance to meet him, he's not as scary as a guy, but he's very powerful, very fun-loving guy. And
he's gonna do for. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
He's like, yeah, Mike ain't got to do nothing. Jimmy gonna do everything. Like, Jimmy's gonna have the conversations, and Jimmy is going to probably, when you look at what the buyout is, it's $4 million because we haven't done a true new contract yet. It's about time for Mike to be able. It was time to have those conversations. Anyway, this just kind of pushes it forward for us to be able to have those conversations.
The rest of the coaches, right, just got extended. So it's only a matter of time, because every other coach that is on this quote unquote potential Bama candidate list, their buyouts are way more, double digits. You know what I mean? So $4 million right now is kibbles and bits compared to some of the other coaches' buyouts. And I think, me personally, thinking out loud once again, I think whatever direction Bama decides to go, Nick Saban is going to play a part in that, I believe.
That's why I think they already know. That's why I really feel they already know where it's going.
And I highly doubt Alabama next head coach is a guy who has no significant ties to Nick Saban. Right. Whoever this new head coach will be for Alabama, Nick Saban really knows him. They have a relationship. It might not be extremely public, but they have a relationship based on what he's done for that organization, for that program, you know, revitalizing them, making them relevant, and now walking away because he wants to walk away. You better believe they had discussions behind closed doors like, okay, Nick, when you do this, who do you think? Who do you like? Who do you think can kind of keep this thing afloat and continue to do what we've been doing with you? So I don't know how much Saban know Norvell, but I know he knows Dan Lanning.
Yeah, you said it right. We heard it right here first, people. Bryant McFadden said Mario Cristobal will be Alabama's next coach.
Don't do our man like that, man. Hey, but if you really want to piss off Bama fans, go ahead and put that out there. Let's just see the reaction. And you know what? That could be a great humbling moment for all these Hurricane fans out here that are talking so big and bad about their coach, Mario this, Mario that. Go ahead and put Mario's name and say Alabama's really considering Mario Cristobal as the next head coach. Watch they get humbled real fast.
That man would be in Alabama. He'd have been in Alabama 3 weeks ago. He'd find a way to time travel to get his butt to Alabama if that came up, man. And in case you don't know, guys, Jen, she's got some pretty good sources. So the stuff you hear her talking, you can check her resume as far as on the show and stuff, talking about coaching candidates. But she can't really talk, with sources. But yeah, the girl, she's been spot on. And when she tells you that Dan Lanning is that top guy, she means it. But kind of getting back, more to the Florida State thing. Go ahead.
I just want to know this because, again, one of the things that I always tell people about my relationship with Coach Norvell and the staff, like What are your thoughts? Just not outside of obviously winning. Was it 19 games in the last 19 straight games, but was it 23 games in the last 2 years? What are your overall thoughts on Mike Norvell as a coach, as a developer, and even the staff in general from your relationships?
Oh, it's for me?
Yeah, for you, B-Man.
Yeah. Okay, my bad. My overall thoughts. I love everything that he's been doing, and the thing I like about Norvell, the most likable thing about Coach Norvell is that he's a good guy. You know what I mean? And it's hard to deny a good guy in regards to results. When you're a good guy and you treat the people that are working with you the same way, you're going to have good results. It's not just about sports. Whatever business you're in, if you're a leader of a Fortune 500 company, if you're an owner of a business, if you're an owner of a restaurant, when you're a good guy and you treat people the right way, you're going to get good results, because those people that are working with you and under you, they don't mind going to battle with you because they respect you because of how you treat them and how you treat others that might not be in the same, neighborhood as what you're doing. So that's the first important thing, because for you, if you're a good guy, it will resonate to recruits. It will resonate to their parents, whoever it is that's overseeing their whole collegiate decision. Then it will resonate on the football field. That's one thing about Bobby. When Bobby was a likable guy, people hated Florida State because we were winning so much, but they loved Bobby Bowden. That didn't make any sense because he was a likable guy. When you hear Coach Norvell talk, even that video at the end of the Orange Bowl, so many people that hated Florida State was like, yo, that was a dope message, because it was real. It was emotional. It was real. And that's who he is. So his leadership, just from that side of things, makes Florida State relevant. And that's why we're seeing the results that we're getting. That's why so many guys are trying to come be a part of what Florida State is doing, because it's a great culture. He's providing a great culture. And secondly, he loves ball. For you to be a great coach, a winning coach, you got to love ball. You got to be motivated day in and day out. I don't know how many collegiate coaches every day at practice is racing his players. You got to be motivated. Now,
they say that's him all day.
Yeah, a lot of these coaches are not racing their players because they're not in shape enough to do so. But for the ones that are in decent shape, they're not doing. The man is motivated. He's so much energy. He's an energizer bunny type guy, and we love that, because Kobe, you know how it used to be. Florida State, it's hot outside. It's week 4, week 5. It's a Tuesday practice. It's a full practice. We got 27 periods, man. But when you hear that coach, hey, it's time to go to work. Let's go. Let's get fired up. It does something to you. It wakes you up. And I don't care who you are. Every now and then we need that guy that can wake us up. And it's better when it's your head coach, because now you got to get in line. You might have had a long day. It's hot outside. It's 97 degrees. It's humid. But when you hear your coach yelling and saying, man, it's time to go to work and get better, if you don't do it, somebody's going to pass you by on the depth chart. So all of those things are things that I like. And I just love how he welcomes a guy like myself, Coleman, so many players who never played for Norvell. He treats us like we were in the locker room with him, either at Memphis or at Florida State. Makes me feel good. I played for Bobby. There have been 2 coaches before Norvell after Bobby. And I still go there and can talk to coach, can text him, can spend time with the guys. He gives us an open door policy. And because of that, we're always trying to do things that help the program by any means necessary from wherever it is we are. We're supporting that. And you guys see that as fans. For the people that are watching us, you feel the same thing that we're feeling. Man, when you're a good dude, you get good results. It's not a surprise to see bad dudes get bad results.
What do you say to people when they try to push this narrative? And it's something we've tried to kill on this show. We're all about positivity. We want to break news and stuff like that too, but we want to help the program. So what do you say to people when they say, oh, well, the culture's not there. He's bringing in mercenaries. He's bringing in these guys from the portal, and they're not really developing kids. What do you say to that, having that kind of knowledge of how Mike Norvell is and just how great the development and stuff really is?
Man, I don't really listen to foolishness. Listening to foolishness and haters is something that I'll entertain, because we're winning. Whatever it is he's doing is working. For the fans that are saying that he don't develop players and this and that, I'm willing to bet they would love to have 13 wins this season.
You'd be surprised, former players and stuff too, saying that kind of thing. So,
and for former players who say that, I look at it from a set of lenses is that college football is different than what it was when I was playing. We didn't have the transfer portal like this. If you transfer, you had to sit out a full year. So we didn't have a lot of guys moving. But now it's a thing. So what you have to do if you want to stay afloat is you better adjust. If you don't adjust, you're going to get left behind. Think about this. 12 years ago, it was an iPhone 5 or 6, right? Right now it's an iPhone, what, 14, 15? What is it?
Something like that. 15X, something like that.
15X. I'm willing to bet for the people and the former players that saying, I don't like his method. He's not developing players. For those individuals that are saying that, I'm willing to bet they got an updated iPhone. I bet they don't have the iPhone 4 or iPhone 5 that was a thing back in the times when it was out. Life is about adjusting by any means necessary. Like whatever car you have now, you got a new car, you got a new home, you got new sneakers, you got new phones, you got new audio equipment. It's about adjusting, because if you don't, you're going to get left behind. And like I said, all those people that are talking about he's not doing this, man, Coach Norvell is adjusting to the new college football landscape. And for all the teams that are winning ball games, they're doing the same thing. The same thing. Georgia, they're getting transfers, right? Alabama, Michigan, Ohio State, Washington. Heck, Washington quarterback came from where? He was a transfer.
Indiana.
What do we talk? Jayden Daniels, who just won the Heisman, came from where? Arizona State.
Arizona State, yeah.
Yes. Yep. So what are you talking about? In life, life is about adjusting if you want to be successful. It's not just about sports. It's about in every phase of your life. If you don't adjust, you're going to get left behind.
Adapt,
like I said, you have to.
Or you die.
Exactly. So we're winning ball games. And remember, y'all remember, I remember when the transfer portal became a thing and Dabo Swinney was like, oh, I don't believe in doing that. And all right.
Now he broke down and said he's going to get in it this year, but they can't get nobody to come.
Yeah,
not with a 10-foot pole.
Which is why I don't think he's going to Alabama, is because, again, he's the unwillingness to adapt, even with the NIL landscape and even with a lot of these different things, which are way different. And B-Mac, well, we get like something that we saw, like, I'm never going to name names or anybody that I do think, but I saw a lot of people came to take my position. And they didn't. I know a lot of people got recruited to take your position and multiple things when you're at a top program. And what we didn't have the transfer portal in, some people you just didn't see come back, or they may went down a level, they went JUCO. All they did was kind of all that's happening right now is the things that happen behind the scenes are now able to be handled a little bit more in front when it comes to name, image, and likeness. When it comes to transfer portal, we always had JUCO, and what I always tell people is, are you saying that JUCO doesn't work? Because my thoughts are, Jared Verse was here for 2 years, and believe it or not, Jared Verse could have came back next year if he wanted to. We got 2 years of. If we get a top prospect, we want him to go. We want him to be here for 3 years. 1 year as a contributor, probably 2 years as a starter. If we get a top blue chip prospect. So we got 2 years out of starting. We got 2 years out of starting out of Jared Verse. There's probably not a blue chip prospect that we could have gotten in that have been the 21 class that would have been better than Jared Verse. There's probably not a blue chip wide receiver that we probably could have got in the class of 21 that would have been on par with what Johnny Wilson gave us. 2 years of production going to the NFL. Keon one and done, but Keon could have also come back. When you go back and you look at the guys that he is getting in the transfer portal, let's look at the recent guys. Don't make me say the names, Jordan. The African kid.
Tomiwa.
I'm gonna call him Django, but whatever. He's got 3 years. I don't know what Tokyo Jets or whatever the kid from Oregon State.
Sione Lolohea. We call him Toko. He's easy.
Toko.
That's the one that popped today.
He has left, but I believe he has at least 2. Most of the guys that Mike brings in has 2 to 3 years of eligibility left. So the Colorado State kid has 3 years of eligibility.
Yep.
It's just a tool when you don't get what you want. And I'm gonna be honest with you, when it comes to linemen, I'd rather get a guy who's already been in a college program a little bit, got in the weight room, ate a little bit, changed their body types a little bit, and we see outside of those different things. Earl Little Jr., we missed on KJ Bolden. Get Earl Little. Earl Little looks really, really good. I'm cool with that battle right now. We get 2 years out of Earl Little. I'm grateful for that.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're looking at the new age through the old lens. And it's kind of like if you stay that way, you'll never be fashion forward. Like my guy B-Mac is a very, very sharp dresser in his suits. If B-Mac was still wearing them 1995, 1996 NBA draft suits, like or Steve Harvey suits, he wouldn't have his knowledge would still be the same. We would not receive it as well on CBS as we do with all of the things tailored and cut because we dress a little bit more like the young guys. You ain't got to wear the. I hope I don't see you in the hop-in jeans, but sometimes you got to adapt a little bit to the new age of thinking. You can't have all of the old mindsets. You got to adapt.
So I want to kind of hear about two different coaches from you. We just had the news. We talked about it in the free. DJ Lundy, a big time kind of piece linebacker, is kind of one of the issues, one of the coaches that gets a bit of criticism. He's gotten it here from this show. Randy Shannon, the recruiting has just not quite been there. But at the same time, we had championship level play in our front seven, is what I tell people. We had a top 5 front seven in the nation. But now people are having a hard time seeing it looking forward. But you get DJ or Lundy back, which is a big deal. And then kind of the opposite side of it, you do bring in a young guy like Patrick Surtain, and what he's done is just amazing. But I guess your opinion on those two coaches would be really valued. I'm curious what you think.
Well, I think, when you talk about Randy Shannon and the history that he's had coaching linebackers, the expectations are always high. And when we lost DJ, I was so confused because, yes, he wasn't a primary starter last year for us, but he played a lot. He got better. He improved. For all the people who say Coach Norvell and his staff don't develop players, Lundy in 2023 was a much better Lundy than what we saw in years past. Facts, especially in pass coverage, especially in pass coverage. He really improved in his coverage skills. But he played a lot. Bethune, Deloach, is safe to say, of course, if I'm not mistaken, I think eligibility, they're gone, if I'm not mistaken. But I think that it's best to say they're leaving, right? Getting ready for the league. You're going to be the guy. Exactly. You're going to be the most experienced linebacker we have. Omar has been around, but he's still young. You got Blake and some other young guys that we brought in. You're going to be the guy. So for him to transfer, I'm like, okay, was it just solely a money thing? Because whatever it is, I'm pretty sure Florida State was willing to give you whatever it was because you're going to be the guy. But Christmas came back again for us because remember, he committed to Colorado on Christmas. It came back again today, and he came back home, and I'm happy because I like the growth that we witnessed from DJ, but he looks like a linebacker. See, I like my linebackers to look like they work out. I don't like these linebackers that the sleeves don't fit on the shoulder pads of the jersey. The jersey ain't tight. Man, Lundy puts in work in the weight room. I can tell you that much. And he moves around and he gets there. He gets there in a bad mood. That's the type of ball I like from my linebackers. And I think he's going to be a leader. I think he's going to have a heck of a year.
Yeah, no doubt. That dude could be Mr. Universe if he wasn't playing football. I mean, he had to slim down to try to, be able to, like you said, improve in that passing game. So it's almost like people, if you don't become number 1 All-American, the best linebacker in the nation, they still got something to say. But no, he's came a long ways. It makes you wonder in that exit interview if they kind of said, look, we're going to go get guys. You're going to have to earn that starting spot. Don't think just because you are what's left. It's not going to be easy going. And maybe he didn't get the same exact deal that a Deloach or a Bethune got. So, but all that matters is he's back home, and that's what matters. But Patrick Surtain has been an absolute just success show. Just came in first year as a DB coach at this level and is probably the best defensive back coach in the land. You want to talk about having a top 3 secondary by most of the stats throughout the season, plus what he did bringing in Charles Lester and all the guys still, even without KJ Bolden. I think he brought in the best DB class in the nation. So I'm curious to, what do you think about Pat? How great has he been for that first year?
Yo, when we hired Coach Surtain almost a year ago, I text Coach Norvell. I said, "You got it right." And so funny story. When Pat was still playing in the league, I had just got fresh in, right? And he lived in South Florida. I lived in South Florida during the off season. I'm from South Florida, of course. So oftentimes, I would be out and about. I would see him, not really knowing him personally, just knowing him through the league and just been a fan of him, watching him when he was at Kansas City and in Miami. He played corner, I played corner, so I knew who he was. And I remember one time we were out and about, not together, but we was in the same venue, and I walked up to him, I introduced myself, and he was like, "Man, I know who you are, man. I be following you, I be checking you out." And we literally sat down, and we were out and about at the venue, but we talked ball for about 40 minutes. Talking ball. He was just telling me things that he's learned, what has made him better, on the football field, how to watch tape, what helps him watching film. And I was just like, wow, this man really don't know me like that. It's not like I'm a teammate. It's not like I'm one of his current teammates. This is his first time really speaking to me. And this man broke down and just sat down, even though he could have been doing any other thing. Like, no, man, I'm gonna break bread with you and spend some time with you, and we're gonna talk ball. I was like, man, that meant so much to me. And that goes back to what I stated with Coach Norvell. He's a good guy. Good guys do those type of things. They're trying to help. So it's no surprise that eventually he got into the coaching world, because he was helping me. He was coaching me, and he's a relatable guy. You know what I mean? So when I heard that he was coming aboard to be a part of the staff, I'm like, boy, bingo is going to be a fast transition into seeing what he can do, not just recruiting, but coaching as well. So those are things that I like, man, because as I mentioned, man, he didn't have to do that. And I still appreciate that till this day. We out and about, man, we talking ball. And I'm like, man, that's a cool dude. And that's the first thing. When I walked away mentally, I said, Pat Surtain, all right, boy, he all right, dude. You know what I mean? And that's how you win people over.
Yeah.
That's exactly how you win people over. When you're trying to coach these young guys and they feel that same vibe, guess what they're going to do now? I'm going to pay attention to him. I'm going to pay attention because coach a good dude, bro. James, you know how it used to be. When a coach you really didn't respect or like, oh, man, I wish he hurry up and shut up, man. He talking too much, man. What we doing? Especially if you feel like you don't know what he's talking about. Pat played the game. He can coach the game. He can make it relatable in any area in the secondary. And we're seeing the fruits of his labor pay off for all of us. So great hire. I think he's going to do a phenomenal job. We just got to keep him, too, because you already know what's going to happen. He's going to have another great year. Secondary, people going to be trying to knock on the door. Y'all know how college football is.
Oh, yeah. Alex Atkins, all those guys.
I'm surprised Georgia didn't do it and they lost theirs to Syracuse. I'm honestly kind of surprised by that.
Those guys had 2 steps. They already knew it. They knew exactly who they were poaching when that happened, man. But yeah, Surtain, again, Mike just he recruits a certain type of guy. All those guys are kind of like that. Talk to us about the mindset of being, because you were high again. Those who don't know, Bryant McFadden wasn't. If I ever see Bryant McFadden go and do like that Ray Lewis mess, where Ray Lewis loves to tell people how bad he was and how nobody wanted him, and then you go look up and Ray Lewis was like one of the top 100 football players in the state of Florida history, All-American and all these different things. But B-Mac was that guy coming out, high-profile DB, was that guy when he played as well. What is it like, even though it's a little bit different, but there's still some similarities? What is it like to be highly recruited coming out of high school and making a decision like going to Florida State? Because I think one of the things that I've seen on social media is so many fans have been so quick to criticize and judgmental, and I get it. The way kids are handling their families are handling some of this stuff, it leads to criticism. But what is it? How intense is the decision, especially being from South Florida? And then what was it like the transition from high school going into college? Was it just swimmingly, or was it something that you just had to get adjusted to all of the things and the factors off the game?
Well, it was intense for me because I was literally down the road from Miami. You know what I mean? From Coral Gables, I was probably about 40 minutes from there. And of course, I was right in the midst of Hurricane fans day in and day out. And, you know, that was like everybody was telling me and wanting me to go down there. My decision to go to Florida State was about a few things. Number one, Coach Bowden. I knew he wasn't going anywhere. I felt like Butch Davis, who was the head coach for Miami at that time, would eventually leave. He told me he wouldn't, but I just felt like, no, you're gonna try to jump ship, you know, the first opportunity you get, and he did. Number two, Mickey Andrews. I really, you know, watched and observed from afar how his DBs played, specifically speaking, how his cornerback played. And then Coach Andrews was a guy who had his hands on Deion, Terrell Buckley, Leroy Butler, Clifton Abraham, Samari Rowe, Tay Cody. I mean, the list can go on and on and on and on and on. I'm like, yo, he coached those guys, so he has to know something, right? And then when I went to Tallahassee, you know, being from South Florida, you know, I was used to a certain type of vibe, scenery. But when I went to Tallahassee, it was all college. It was all college. It was all Florida State. It was like they were the guys. And I went during Sugar Bowl practices when they were getting ready for the national championship game. So you could just imagine how fired up Tallahassee was. And I went there and I saw just the college atmosphere. And I was like, this is different than what I experienced in some of my other visits. And I'm like, I like this. And you guys know how it is. When you go to Tallahassee hit different. It's something about Tallahassee where it's like, man, it's not a big city, but it makes me feel like I'm at home every
that full
time.
moon, ain't it? I've always heard that. Something about there's a moon that just, especially for the football players, it was full down there. You have one of those stories that you're allowed to speak on, or you ain't got to, but no.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
everybody's got one.
Moon? Oh, no question. I'm in the moon Saturday night, which was grown folks night. It was graduation weekend. I'm in there with Peter Ward, the who's the who from the team. As I stated, they're getting ready for the Sugar Bowl.
I think we have breaking news.
What?
Hang on.
It better be breaking to break up the moon story.
I know. Hang on. It's On 3 is saying that Dan Lanning is going to be the next coach at Alabama.
Good. Great job, Alabama.
Breaking news live on the set.
I don't know. Hang on. I need to confirm it. Let me confirm it.
Bring in the other ukulele from Oregon.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about that part of that.
Bring on little brother.
Mateo Uiagalelei. If this is confirmed, everybody's checking their phones. If Dan Lanning is heading to Alabama, obviously there's an outside chance that Mateo could end up at Alabama. But man, I mean, how many DNs can we take? I'm for it.
You can never not have enough pass rushers. It's just like not having enough DBs.
And some guys, you know, I'm drawing a blank on which one, but some of these guys, I think they can play like a DeMarcus Walker when he was here. Slide him inside some and pass rush downs and stuff like that. They'll definitely work with it. You
can put together a speed racing package. You can have 4 DNs in the ball game at the same time, running nothing but stunts, passing situation.
Woo. Charles Kelly used to like to do that. He had some good stuff out there back in the days. But yeah,
so y'all continue that story. I'm going to work on this, and I will get back to you.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, you work the phone. They still have they just have
Josh
the betting.
Pate.
Yeah.
Josh Pate is in on it too, by the way.
Josh Pate, that's my guy.
Yep.
Josh Pate. Yeah, we like to pick on him about his Miami takes.
If Josh Pate's in Las Vegas, I'll put him in a cross-faced chicken wing when I see him, man. I don't like all that waffling, man. Just pick one side and go with it, baby. But go ahead and tell us the story.
Back to the movie.
I did not mean to stop you.
Nah, it's great because as long as you don't say it's Coach Norvell, we all right.
My heart stopped there for a second. Lord, have mercy, Jen.
Yeah,
I thought that was good news.
That is good news. That's
we
what
were just saying we didn't know.
But yeah, I was in the moon, man, with Peter Warwick, and the whole team was in there, and that was pretty much the seal to me going to Florida State, because I said I need to be a part of this. The football is great, but just everything else outside of football, I don't know how Tallahassee is now when it comes to hanging out. But boy, Coleman, you already know when we was in school.
So they wasn't paying around. They brought you to the moon on the recruiting trip.
And no question, the moon. It was late December. It was cold outside. By the time I walked outside from the moon, I had no shirt on.
Lord have mercy. When you have the memories, like you think of like it was cold and stuff, that just goes to show you how much fun you had while the action was going on inside.
Yeah, I took off. I had no shirt on. It was like I was in the leech working out. I came out sweating. Everybody was like, man, Mac, where your clothes at? I said, man, I enjoyed myself. I don't know what y'all talking about. I had me a good time.
Man, those good days, those young days, man. Oh, Lord. But yeah, you hit the nail on the head talking about what it was like back in those days. I could only imagine. I wasn't a part of it. But when you find out that Van Wilder and the program and all these kind of movies that glorify, college party culture and frat stuff, all that shit was based on Florida State. The whole Bert Kreischer story, I guess everybody knows by now. But yeah, I could only imagine what it was like for you guys being star football players at Tallahassee in the late 90s on into the 2000s. It was a different world back then, for sure. Man, that's wild. But yeah, Dan Lanning, if he goes to Bama, there's going to be some clean pickings on there, and that's the trifecta for those guys.
I was on Sporadics yesterday, another show we got to get you on, my guy Chris on BMAC, and somebody asked me, I get asked this a lot lately. I always have a couple of them, but everybody has them. What was one of your favorite Bobby stories? Actually, before we do that, can you tell it that obviously Bobby had to come to the hood? So what was it like when Bobby came to do your in-home? And then if you can give us one of your favorite Bobby Bowden stories as a player, that'd be great.
So Bobby was such a freaking superstar. When the word got out that he was coming to my house for an in-home visit, there were a lot of Florida State fans at my high school, a lot of Bobby Bowden fans at my high school, and they were just requesting like, yo, B-Mac, can you get him to sign this? Could you get him to sign that? So literally when he came to my house, it was him and Coach Lilly, if I'm not mistaken, John Lilly. I was super nervous. I said, Coach, I'm sorry, it's not me, but my principal, I got a few teachers that are big fans of yours. They would want to know, could you sign some of their items? And Coach was like, oh, Mac, because he always called me McFadden. He never said Bryant. He said McFadden. And he was like, McFadden's no problem. Whatever you need. We got it. So we literally did 30 minutes. He did a 30-minute signing, and then we got into the home visit. And it was just, he would talking ball, talking life, talking religion. My folks, how Bobby doing what Bobby does. And then funny story real quick is that I can't remember what year it was for me, but we had a Nike contract, and he was so adamant about showing that Nike check. So only way you can spat your cleats was if you had an injury or whatever, right? And am I still here?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh shoot. I might have to cut this. I forgot I got to do a hit for CBS guys. They calling me on Zoom.
Yeah. Well, man, we appreciated you almost an hour already. So for sure, man, if you got to go, you got to go, and you're welcome to come back if we're still going when you get done. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun.
If you guys still going, so I can come back on and finish the story.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. We appreciate it so much.
Alrighty, and we will catch Bryant. He has to run and knock out another hit, but he will jump back in if he has the time. So, man, this is so much fun. Did you and Jen, I believe she was going to run to catch her source.
I am.
Okay, that's what you're going to do. James?
Yeah, I'm going to go do it real quick.
Man, this shit is so much fun. What a day for Florida State. Again, Sione Lolohea, a.k.a. Toko, pops for the Noles today. DJ Lundy back to Florida State from Colorado. Breaking news all over the place. While I've got James on here for a second, we can talk about there's going to be at least one more I think the pretty much consensus, a lot of people between me and Chris and James, we've talked about Zion Young is a guy that we really want to see and might be the top guy on the list with all these DNs. You know, we've already got Marvin Jones Jr., we've already got Toko. What do you think? You think he's in the bag, or what do you think about the young man? I know his visit got messed up, you know, but
and that's why I wanted to have B-Mac just, you know, give a perspective of how difficult the process is. I mean, you got a situation where you're leaving one place, and then you're coveted by multiple teams. Like Georgia really was interested in him, Missouri very interested in him, Florida State. And when you're talking about all these different places, I mean, let's be for real. Like people think that we're just going to get outbid by a lot of different things, but the money is it's relatively all the same. Missouri never stopped recruiting him. Kind of talked to him a lot. And, you know, it's just a thing where it's hard. And then Florida State was a situation where we've had multiple times to actually back him. Could have got him out of high school. Could have got him when he first into the portal. And then I think the interest came in when Georgia was interested. And I think, you know, he's putting that aside for the business side of it, but it could be in the back. I think where everybody is leaning towards is that it's him being at Florida State. I don't think any of these other additions add or subtract to what he would be wanting to do, but I do think Zion's one of them. I think we've done a really good job with the line. If you went back and you watched, I had a great bit on the show this morning where we were doing the damn Black Panther shit. I can't even remember his Doro Jaye, right?
Doro Jaye.
There we go. Doro Jaye, if you look at where he's at now, he's 6'4", 277 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Easily will be 290 by the time.
That's who I was talking about. Could probably slip inside to tackle some.
The clip that Sanone put up, you saw him actually coming from the head up, basically the 4 technique, if I remember correctly. No, actually it was a shade. No, yeah, it was a 4. It was a 4. And you know, stunning inside, basically playing a D tackle in that spot. You can put him in there. You put a MJJ coming off the edge because Patrick Payton's probably not the better guy. He's more of the pure pass rusher that you're going to want. Or even putting a Zion or a Toko. And, you know, the point is that you can put a variety of different ends and looks. And what we need wave after wave. You can never have too many pass rushers. Now, what we do need to do is we got to go find some linebackers. We have to be truly honest with ourselves and assess where we're at. But we also have to be honest with ourselves with the scholarship numbers. We have a lot of resources in the DB room, and we're allotting a lot of resources into the D line. So you only have people keep saying we need depth, we need depth, we need depth, we need depth. We are only putting 2 linebackers on the field at once. So we have Blake, you have Cryer, who I think people aren't giving Cryer the benefit of the fact that he didn't show up until August because of what happened with the school he signed to initially. But those are 2 4-star linebackers. You got DJ Lundy back now. Omar Graham Jr. is going to be a solid guy, but we're not 8 deep at linebacker. But the reason why our linebacker play was lacking in the bowl game has nothing to do with our guys just stinking. It has everything to do is when you put our third string player. What we learned is our third string D tackle is not as good as Georgia's first string guard. I could have told you that shit. Like when I saw Farmer and Fisk weren't playing, I knew exactly what was happening that game. And it was nothing to be done. It was nothing we could do. And let's be for real. How national championship teams win national championships because they're healthy. It has very little to do with being 4 deep across all the positions. Very few teams. George, you remember me talking about this? Remember the scare last year? Oh my God, what are we going to do at safety? Oh my God, safety's so terrible. We're going to get ate up. And I'm like, guys, if we're on our third string fucking safety, we got bigger problems.
People think every position is like defensive tackle, and it's not. You don't have to have 6 safeties. You don't have to have 6 linebackers. Like, it's a different deal.
There's 2 teams that we got to worry about that are just that much deeper than us. Really 1. Because I don't know what's happening with Alabama right now.
Yeah, and Georgia really is the only team out there that can really just concentrate on, high school. Like, it's like everybody else is playing the game.
If we had a healthy team, or we played in a game that mattered, that game is not – I'm not saying we win, but that game ain't 63-3, man.
No, hell no.
Let us play Washington. We beating the fuck out of Washington.
I love us. I don't see them moving the ball on us. Either one of those teams that was in the national championship. I don't see them moving the ball.
That team that played against Louisville wasn't getting beat by very many teams. And Brock Glenn throwing to Keon Coleman, Johnny Wilson, Jaheim Bell, it's a lot different than Brock Glenn throwing to a bunch of guys who had very little experience. So, again, it's nowhere near as bad as what people think. I think a lot of times we just want to be upset, and I get it. We're a pretty damn good team. This is a good season. We need to get better, and I'm with Kevin Hickson. That is my goal. I want to get my guy. I want Jeff Culhane to be in all kinds of.
Oh my gosh!
Put him on
that name. That poor guy.
With that name, then having to say during the Django and Kanika on the tackle.
Good Lord.
Ukulele on the rush.
Alex Roberto says, I saw George Clinton at the moon. You want to talk about a hell of a sentence there. That must have been a hell of a night. George Clinton with his boas and all that stuff, the king of funk. And I could imagine what the ladies were looking like and everything else. Talk about a moment in time.
I've had some great times in the moon. Top Flight, you weren't gonna be able to get in Top Flight with as a young guy. But
it seems like every time we go live, like news is breaking. Were you able to? Did you get something you want to fill us in on what you learned?
So what I can say is I did not get a name, but I do think something's happening here very, very, very quickly. I don't see this going on for a couple of weeks. And I fully believe it's going to be who I think it's going to be and who I said earlier. But, oh God, how did Lane Kiffin enter this chat?
What's that?
I said, how did Lane Kiffin enter the chat?
You tell us.
Oh, Lane's agent is very vocal. Lane's agent is very vocal.
No doubt. All right.
But Florida State fans, it's not Mike.
Well, guys, I guess while we wait to see if Bryant's going to make it back, we still got James and Jen. We might as well open the line and start taking some questions. If you have any questions for me, James, or Jen, you can call, text, or put it on the YouTube comments. Sometimes it comes through from X, but I can't make any guarantees if you're watching on X. But yeah, the bat phone is down there, 850-495-1906. Again, you can text or call in your questions, and we'll get you live on the air. If you're in here and you're not a member already, this was Bryant McFadden. It was absolutely awesome. We're going to keep this stuff going. We're going to keep different people coming on, but there will be some member only episodes from time to time. So make sure you sign up, be a member if you can do that. And we'll make sure we get some great premium content for you guys. The premium members, they find out about who's going to be guests. Moving forward, we'll start putting some recruiting information in there too. We're just getting started, but make sure you get signed up for all that stuff. Hit subscribe. And if you're already subscribed, make sure you hit that member button. Do the same for Den Media Group, James Coleman. Go visit over there. Make sure you're subscribed to his. Make sure you're with Jen Santee 1890 on X. And we got our first caller here. You're live with the Renegade Rundown.
Hey, this is Nick. Question for James. Kind of distract all of us too off of the news of the day. What is the secret to good conditioning? Because I hear a lot of our coaches like Storms. It was really cool. They ran a shirt with him. Everyone's excited with how he's rebuilt the program. How do the team really get into strength and conditioning to endure what might be 16, 17 game seasons?
Appreciate it.
It's a lot that goes into that. And it's a part of my life that I did for quite some time and still dabbling in is the strength and conditioning. A lot of it's genetics. A lot of people don't really want to admit to that. It's like, what is your body type? So I always joke with people, those who have never seen me, I'm a pretty wide guy. I'm broad. So with those wide, or just think about the people, we want guys with that, even though they're wide, they're built. We need that coat hanger, so big ass coat hanger. So the wider the hanger, the heavier the coat that you can put on it. So when you're looking at your lineman type, that's what you want. So guys with really long arms, wide shoulders, big wingspans. You can put more mass on those guys generally than 285 with a wide frame looks different than 285 with a more narrow frame. Those are the ones that typically don't get hurt more. And then it's about working 5 phases of development: flexibility, agility, strength, endurance, and speed. So you have to work all 5 of those areas in your strength and conditioning when you're doing stuff like that. So some people focus on some others than that. But bigger than that is at that level, mentally, you have to be 100% bought into the fucking grind. And the grind stinks. It's not fun. But like B-Mac was talking about, that's where you have to have your teammates, and that's where the culture is built around.
Josh Storms.
I hated every day of working out in mat drills. But it was my teammates that got me through it. It was knowing that if I dropped the ball, I made it harder for somebody else. So you got to collectively get everybody together. And it's a combination of, again, trying to make people mentally strong and then making them physically strong. One of the first things you learn when you're doing your sports phys or anatomy and phys and all those different things is what happens when you add stress to a stimulus. It adapts. So you have to be able to add the proper amount of stress in order for everything for the bodies to adapt. And a lot of things go from there. But there's some people who just get fucking injured, man. Yeah. And it's just an injury. Like for me, I walked out of the game. I had a broken. Most of my injuries happened. Both my surgeries happened my sophomore year. I had a broken hand and I had a torn labrum in my right shoulder. Outside of that, I couldn't pay to get hurt. The things that they thought happened to me, when I landed on top of I landed after I scored against North Carolina State. My head went right into the ground and all of my weight just came crashing down right on me. And basically, I pile drived myself. I jumped over the pile. Somebody caught my foot, and I went straight perpendicular to the ground. And
I think Jen. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you got. Is there more to that? Your leg was coming around your head. That had to hurt.
I was messing my hair. I'm sorry. I was being intense. I was reading something because I got something that I think Bryant was onto something. D'Amico Ryans is in the list. I do still think, Dan Lanning. I think this happens really soon. The names I've gotten is Dan Lanning.
I thought you were going to let us know about those repercussions that are already starting to happen. You texted me about a recruit.
Oh, Ryan Williams. Yes, Ryan Williams has decommitted from Alabama. That 5-star player has decommitted. Sorry, I was just trying to tell you who I'm hearing is on the list. It was Dan Lanning, Lane Kiffin, and D'Amico Ryans is the list right now. That is the list. So no matter what ESPN says, that's what I've been told. And I can tell you right now.
Take that shit to the bank. If Jen tells you something about this coaching shit, it's check her track record again.
I can't tell you why. I can just say that's what I've been told. so we can go from there. I just don't see Lane Kiffin. I think Lane Kiffin, my God, would he love it? I don't know that what I've been told is that the Bama people may not, the people who need to sign them checks and sign off on it may not sign them checks and sign off on it, if you know what I mean. So anyway, I'm sorry. That's all.
No, you're fine. Kevin Hickson has a question. Do you guys think that with Nick gone, does this put SEC on the clock to get FSU to the SEC? Do they, move face because that brand is kind of stopping with Bama, or do you think they keep it rolling? I don't think that changes anything. And give me 1 second, we'll get you live on the air as we have a caller here. I think it's just the Big Ten, guys. I mean, everybody anytime anybody happens, people want to bring that up. But sorry, guys, I just don't think it's going to be the SEC. And you're live on the air with James and Jen and George. Got a question for us?
Yes, sir. This is Mario from Memphis. Jen, big shout out, Memphis girl. I hear you. Go Grizz, go Tigers. But I also want to say that I actually met Coach Norvell when he was coaching at the University of Memphis as well. When I was coaching middle school, and when I say he's a genuine, authentic guy, he really is. He let my middle school players come out to their practices, and he builds relationships, and that's why it's not a surprise what he's doing at Florida State. And I actually went down to the game where they played North Alabama, the game that Jordan got hurt, unfortunately. And just how cool he is, man. Once I said I was from Memphis, and he kind of sort of remembered me, but one of his staffers, man, they let me go back, and I talked to the players. I took pictures with the players, and I was back there with Timmy Jernigan, and I talked to him. And when I say the guy is just authentic, man, he rarely forgets somebody. That's why I know Florida State is in great hands, and I never doubt what he's doing. Every coach makes play call decisions and different things that stuff happens. But I know people are kind of talking about Randy Shannon. But trust you and believe me that him and Mike have had a talk, and I know that they have the same plan. And they're definitely on the same page. But I guess my only question would be to you guys is, I heard her talk about Surtain, and that does scare me. But I would think that Florida State would fight to keep him if something like that did come up, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. You definitely would see him fighting, but, that eventually it's going to be a coordinator spot. So the question would be, is he ready to take that leap at some point in time, or is somebody going to offer it and he goes out? But yeah, he's not going to leave for any kind of, it wouldn't be a lateral decision. But if that's the only question, we'll hang it up. Or if you had anything else before I let you go.
No, I guess the only other question is, I guess the next time I come down, is the moon still there?
We appreciate it, man.
The moon is like open and shut. Like sometimes it's open. It's an event based more now than it is just open every day. So, like if it's homecoming weekend, it's open. If it's graduation weekend, it's open. But a lot of times you just got to check it out. But there is a place, if you like the moon on Saturdays, you got to check out the Shriners Club, or you got to check out I always check out Top Flight. Best wings you'll ever have. But make sure you bring your proper shoes, because they're not letting you in with tennis shoes. I don't give a damn. Like, trust me, Peter Warwick has had Gucci tennis shoes on, and they told him you can't wear tennis shoes. Like, he could have put on like about $10 Walmart dress shoes, and they'll let him in. But they're definitely not letting you in with tennis shoes. I got $10,000 sneakers. Well, my bad, $15,000 sneakers over there. They won't let me in with those. Like I remember one time it was another party I had to go into in Tallahassee, and I told them, look my shoes up and look if I'm here to make a bad time. I was like, because if somebody messed my shoe up, that's the only time I'm gonna make some furniture move, if somebody fucked my shoes up. If somebody messed my shoes up, if I got it, because I can't buy them no more. If somebody getting stomped out, I'm gonna get my money's worth if I mess up one of them pairs of shoes. But again, it's all good fun.
No doubt, man. I always thought that was weird. Club culture is a weird thing, because it's like, you got to swallow your pride. I don't know if you've ever been to Seville in Pensacola, but it's like you can't get through the damn place without bumping into people, without getting stepped on. But you'd be surprised how good they do at keeping the jobs down, the fights down, but it happens. But I digress. It's it's been a great time, man. Again, the number's up here, 850-495-1906. If you want to get a question in for Jen or James. The portal has gone nuclear. That's what's going on in Noel Nation. We keep adding guys. Keep adding guys. And now all of a sudden, Nick Saban retires. We're talking about who's going to fill his shoes. Is it going to be a college person? Is it going to be Dan Lanning? If that happens, there's a defensive end named Mateo Uiagalelei. Maybe he opens up. So it's like there's just so much going on. Jen just let me know Ryan Williams decommitted. You're talking about whatever. I can't remember. I just had it pulled up, but he's, number 2 recruit in Alabama, one of the top 20, 30 recruits in the entire nation, consensus 5-star, I don't know if he's a consensus 5-star, but he's the composite 5-star. Zion Young. Still on the clock. Yes, he's a wide receiver. Still looking at possibly getting a Zion Young out of the portal. Still looking at some different linebackers. A lot of stuff going on in Old Nation, but it's just a fun time. Anything you got, Jen?
All right, guys. I'm gonna try to give me some chow before I got to get on this road tomorrow.
All right.
10-4. Well, we appreciate you joining us, James.
All right.
Y'all make sure y'all go subscribe to Den Media Group. If you're not already part of Den Media Group, I don't know what you're doing, but make sure you go over there and get with that. Also, Spear Addicts. He does the Spear Addicts show and the Voice of College Football all throughout the week. So make sure you go check that out. And again, the number's up on the screen. If you want to get your take in for the Renegade Rundown before we get out of here, we usually go about 2 hours. We still got over 300 people in here, so we're going to keep it popping. Make sure if you can, memberships are available, so get your membership. It starts at $3.99 on up to whatever level you want, and we're doing more and more members only content. We're going to have members only shows and stuff like that moving forward, so it's a lot of fun. Get your questions in for me and Jen. So what's up, man? What's going on, Jen?
Oh, not much. I mean, just don't forget, guys, we have Carlos Williams on Friday.
Yes, ma'am.
And we have Rob Deloach on Tuesday. I'm so excited about that one too. So, yeah, guys, just please stay tuned. And you never know, we may drop a new, hey, we're going to have a big guest on. I'd love to be mysterious like that. So you don't know, you never know. You better hit that notification button just to find out.
Lots of big things in the works. Everything isn't public yet. Some of the members, the members here, the group, they know some more names on that list, and we're adding them every day. Jen is like the best booker in the game and the best co-host in the game, so I could not be luckier. I met a guy in the store today. His name is Corey, so shout out to you, Corey. Appreciate you watching the show. And again, if you have any questions, get those in. We'll probably hang around another 15-20 minutes, see how it goes, see if Bryant wants to jump back in or not, and then we'll probably call it a day. But again, get those questions in.
Let's see. What do we
Congo
have
says
here?
college football is like the 90s again. Michigan, FSU, Washington, Notre Dame, Nebraska. This thing moves in cycles, guys.
It does.
And as much as people want to be worried, Florida State, they're in a position to start a dynasty, to dominate. And Florida State is going to continue doing what Florida State does. Mike Norvell is going to continue doing what Mike Norvell does. So regardless of what anybody from the outside says, they're going to keep on bringing these people. And, the world was falling a couple weeks ago. And, man, it's just been a nuts, 2 or 3 days. You land 8 commitments. It's hard to believe. But, bam, just like that. We were up to number 5 the last I saw, and I don't think the latest commitment moved us up just because Louisville has 24 commits and we've got 10, but I do know that we have the highest average. So again, Mike Norvell just absolutely scorching hot on the recruiting trail, the portal trail, if you will.
Sorry. I am just responding. Okay. So, yeah, I think something is going to happen very quickly with Bama, and I don't think it's going to be Mike Norvell, guys. I mean, I'm just telling you.
I fucking hope not. Who thinks that?
I mean, some people do. I'm just saying, guys, I have a very good source. I don't get all that much information out of them unless it's Florida State related. The information I got was that it's not Mike. They will drop some info every once in a while, but I have to be really nosy to get it. So there you go.
Right.
That's what I can say.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's not like we just went over all the recruits, all the kind of targets that are left. There's not a ton of speculation. The rest of the guys that are going to come, the majority of them, again, we talked about the one young man, Zion Young from Michigan State, who's, his visit was supposed to be secret. It ended up getting blown up, so it's out in the open. He's one that we're really hoping possibly gets in here. But there are also, if you watch Den Media Group, if you watch Spear Addicts, you've heard Chris talking about it. There's a lot of people, there's several people here visiting that their thing didn't get blown up and made private. Those would be guys who are already in the portal. There's also a ton of guys that are playing at other schools. For example, there's maybe some guys at Oregon, maybe there's some guys at Alabama. There are a ton of moves that are going to be made post spring. We're currently, I'm not sure the exact number, so don't take my quote here, but we were at like 80 or 81 scholarships when we went on this run. And now we've signed 8 more guys. Pretty simple math. We're somewhere 88, 89 scholarships, but that doesn't matter. 85 is the limit, but that limit only comes into play when you get into the fall camp. So, yeah, we're going to carry probably 90, 91 scholarships into spring, but that number will get down under 85, and you're going to have another 5-10 guys hit the portal. It's just how it is. I predicted 10 to 12. We're already at 10, one of them being a PWO, so I guess technically 9 scholarship players. But by the time this thing ends up, we get us a linebacker or 2, and then possibly another D-end here, another defensive tackle there. We're going to be right there with that prediction around 10, 12 guys. And I couldn't be happier about it. We talked about this a lot on the show throughout the year, Jen. Like, could there be a drop off a bit, but nowhere near what people are making now? We're just going to be a bit younger. The talent level is going up, but I'm to the point. I've switched stances. I'm ready to change completely what I've been saying for the past year. I'm 100% on board saying that the 2024 roster, looking forward and projecting, it's just going to be the best roster far and away that Florida State's had. I think the floor has raised considerably, and I mean a good bit. It's probably the highest raising of the floor in the 4 years Norvell's been here, and also the ceiling has rose a little bit. I think it's just going to be really, really their ass is grasped, basically, the ACC. It's going to be tough going. That Georgia Tech game is kind of right out of the gate, so that will be, possibly interesting. It's over in Ireland, so it's not going to be in the local confines of Doak Campbell Stadium or even the Orange Bowl or somewhere where Florida State's used to playing. So there'll be that element, the travel, the jet lag, all of those things. But we'll still be favored in the game. And besides that, you've got a Notre Dame game here, a Clemson game here, there. I think worst case scenario, you're like 10-2, but I don't see that happening either. I think I saw our buddy CJ Wilson, several other people saying today, buy your ACC championship tickets. It's time. Mark it down. We're going back. Yeah, and I agree 100%. Even if you had 1 or 2 losses, it would be one of those things where you beat somebody and then they lost to somebody else. We're going. What do you think?
I just wish it wasn't in Charlotte. Ugh.
Oh, right. It should definitely be at the Orange Bowl. That would be much better, or Orlando, or wherever else.
Like anywhere better than in their favorite spot of North Carolina, which is why we want to get the hell out of this stupid, sorry conference, because all those weirdos in North Carolina, they just love them some ACC, and I don't understand. Oh, wait, I do, because they're treated like gods when they do nothing. So there you go. That's my opinion on that. But so what do you think about Zion, George? Or is he gonna pop, or what are we doing? I lost you.
Yeah, no, you're supposed to be carrying the show while I take the call, sweetie.
Oh, sorry.
You're good.
I didn't know you were doing
You're
that.
good. But no, I think he's a null. I do, and we did have a call come in. That's what I was doing. So yeah, I'm with you. I think Zion ends up in the class, but we'll just have to see how quick he kind of got his thunderstorm today, I think is what happened. But go ahead, you're live with the Renegade Rundown.
Yeah, so longtime FSU fans will note that all of our national championship years ended with either 3 or 9. 1993, 1999, 2013. I mean, Bobby Bowden retired in 2009. Just for fun, do you think there's any voodoo going on with that, or do you think we're going to be able to win a championship in an even year, or what are your thoughts on that? Just kind of a different question for you guys.
Well, it's got the 9s in 93, but I guess that you're right. It still is an odd one. But yeah, that will be fun. We'll let Jen answer that one. Appreciate the call, man. What do you think? You think it's voodoo? You think we'll be able to win in an even number year? That is pretty funny. All of our championships have all been odd years. That was a good point by him.
Yes, I think we can. I think you have to break. Cycles are meant to be broken, and I think that Mike Norvell is the perfect guy to do it.
Absolutely.
All those championships in odd years have been with other coaches. So let's see if Mike can break it. Streaks are made to be broken. They always are. See Georgia, see Alabama, see the SEC.
Absolutely. And we are on that track.
Never been a national championship game without an SEC team in it either, right?
Oh yeah, I guess we can talk about that before we get out of here. I know you went back on the Big 12 Mafia show talking Big 10 conference realignment and all that stuff. Oh, okay. You didn't end up going there?
They were done last night when we got done.
Well, Congo says Fox not bidding on the college football playoff. Maybe ESPN will make a deal with Big 10 to grab FSU. Congo must not watch the show. So yeah, FSU is going to the Big 10. You can take our word for it. That's already done. The big thing is suing the ACC to get past that grant of rights and get over there. But you can bet your bottom dollar that there has been conversations behind scenes, and Florida State would not be doing everything that they're doing if it wasn't already set in stone. And yeah, ESPN, I don't see them doing some kind of trade or whatever. It's as much as you want to put a story there and people want to, this happened, maybe it'll be the SEC. It's just Florida State to the Big 10. That's what's going to happen until something changes. And if we hear something different, we'll definitely let you know. But that's what we're going to go with, and that's what we're sticking with. But there have been some changes, and the ideas we've reported and thought it was going to be kind of 50-50 between Fox, ABC, CBS on one side, and then ESPN on the other. There's been some back and forth. It's looked like Fox was going to go for the bigger share. Now ESPN's countering, trying to get the whole thing again. So all that stuff's up in the air, and we will definitely keep you guys up to date on that as it moves forward.
Perfect. Okay, so did you say when you thought that kid was going to commit? Because I totally lost it.
We can't say when he's going to commit, but soon. Hopefully soon.
Okay.
I think he will be a Knoll. So it's just a matter of when. Just a matter of when. I'm trying to think who the other school that was after him. It's between us, and I'm not sure. So that kind of answers your question right there. But yeah, you hate and you just hope that kind of that whole issue with his visit being leaked, you hope that doesn't affect it. But from everything I've heard, I'm all in on him, and I think we could get him for sure. It's just there have been a ton of DNs like we have been. It's kind of an embarrassment of riches. So you hope that doesn't scare anybody off. Of course, if you missed it earlier, Jen let you guys know there was a scare earlier, people trying to read into Instagram stuff and scare everybody and give them heart attacks. And so dumbasses, atting Marvin Jones and talking all the shit. No, Marvin Jones Jr. is okay. He's locked in. He's already moved to Tallahassee, all this good stuff. No worries there. It's all up from here. Of course, DJ Lundy back in the Florida State uniform, realized the grass wasn't greener on the other side. So we got to pull off that kind of Mims move that Georgia pulled off on us, and even with MJJ in years past. Feels really nice. How does it feel to be on this side of that for once, Jen?
I love it, and I love being on the side with Colorado because I guess those IOUs they're paying Deion's salary and aren't really hitting anymore. That's a joke because, with Deion's salary, they didn't really have the money, so they're paying him on the back end. I'm calling it IOUs, okay? It's funnier and, it is what it is. Or maybe the Bitcoin fell out. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing over there, but yeah, he saw the clown show. He saw the shit show and said, yeah, I'm good. So,
Yeah. So we had another question coming. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, that's all I was gonna say is I think the poor kid was like, yeah, I'm not doing this. I mean, or he saw his insurance policy, which wasn't there.
Non-existent.
Yeah, non-existent.
So we got another question in from Corey. He says, have any transfers ever left Florida State and been successful afterwards? This is a pretty good one. I'm pretty sure there was several guys who left in the Willie era, like during Willie's time, and then Norvell's like initial when he got here. There's some people that left and had some sporadic success. But one thing we've talked about here is, as far as guys leaving from Mike Norvell in the portal, guys that he brought in, guys that were going to be actually part of the team, not really. Trayshawn Ward had a pretty good year at Kansas State, but nothing special. He would have been in better shape, in my opinion, if he'd stayed at Florida State. Do you have any particular guys that come to mind when you think about this?
Well, I think Rodney Hill comes to mind.
You think he had success?
Oh, no.
The question is, have any FSU players left Florida State and been successful?
No.
Yeah, no. There's not been any major success. There's been some guys that have gone to lower level and got their playing time and stuff like that, but not any major success.
Okay. I mean, I guess LeBourne that went to Marshall, but do you consider Marshall successful? Because I don't.
Well, no, but I addressed that. Yeah, I addressed that in the beginning. There were guys that left during Willie's time and that first transition that weren't ever like a part of the climb. I don't know. Yeah. I think Kalon LeBourne is in that camp. I don't think he ever actually played for Norvell.
I don't think so, but I mean, if you think going to Marshall and being good is successful, I mean, cool. But the only thing good about Marshall is the movie We Are Marshall, and that's because Bobby Bowden was in it.
Right? What Rod Bostic comes in with the $5 super chat. What happened with DJ Lundy coming back? What's the latest on Stewart? Well, we have got an answer and a good answer for both of those. You want to take it or you want me to take it, Jim?
You go for it.
Alrighty. So DJ Lundy originally had transferred to Colorado. Not really sure. It was a bit of a surprise. Was the third linebacker last year, but going forward, he was the most experienced, the best linebacker we had left. He was going to be a starting linebacker next year. 90% sure that was going to happen if he stayed and fought. But my thing is, I think in the exit interview, it was like, look, you're going to have to earn that thing. We're going to bring guys in here. It's not going to be just because, meritocracy. It's not just like, just because you were third and the top two left, that doesn't mean you're the guy. We're going to build around. You're going to be the starting linebacker. So I think there was a little bit of that. The NIL deal he got offered may not have been to the level of a Deloach or a Tatum Bethune. So he decided to enter the portal. He went and had some different options, ended up committing to Colorado. Thought that was going to be, got up there for whatever reason. It didn't work out, and he's back. He pulled his name. It's official. It's been reported by enough people. Pulled his name out of the transfer portal. He is back. He's going to be at Florida State at least through spring and going to compete for one of those starting linebacker jobs like we all, thought it should have been. I feel bad for some people. It's like you talk about this and everybody's worried about it. But, these guys can make you silly. These kids, they can change their mind on a dime. It's just how it is. And what's the latest on Evan Stewart? The latest we have heard on Evan Stewart. You know what? I can tell you, I know the exact thing with him, but I don't know if it's on the record or off the record. So to not get myself in trouble, I will just say that, Florida State, I don't think is pursuing him anymore. They're not pursuing him anymore. You can read the tea leaves. He had injury issues and stuff like that at Texas A&M. He put it out there publicly that he wants to go somewhere that can actually tell him what's wrong with his shoulder or whatever it is and can get it fixed. And I don't think Florida State was that. So leave it at that. And we appreciate the super chat, Rod, and keep the questions coming. As long as y'all keep some questions going, we will keep it going a little bit longer. And again, we appreciate everybody for participating. And like I said, I wasn't sure if it was on or off the record, the specific details of that, but yeah, they have moved on. And thank you, Jen Cast. We have another new member right here at the Renegade Rundown. We really appreciate you, and we will keep the content coming.
George, do I need to become a member of the show? Do I have to become a member or?
No, you don't have to. I mean, you are the show. You are the show, Jen.
I was just
It would
wondering,
make it would make your comments look cooler, but
oh, true. I should do that. I'm gonna become a member. I'm gonna become the biggest member, I think.
and also Kobe Owens came and made a member. When we have 4 people up here, I try not to keep stuff up long. I didn't want to interrupt Bryant McFadden, but shout out to you, Kobe Owens. Thank you for becoming a member, and y'all keep the questions and comments rolling, and we'll keep hanging out with you guys to the 2-hour mark if y'all keep it going. Y'all know how we are around here. We like to sit here and hang out. We hit all our points. We do all the professional stuff, but we also like to hang out with our community and just have fun. And this guy, I don't want to say his name. I'll say it. Reek, we appreciate your addition to the algorithm, all that good stuff. So we really, really appreciate you. Just keep on rolling. We're not going to throw your trolls up there unless it's something that really makes you laugh. And I think Bryant is like absolutely just locked up. He's got hits all over the place. The world's falling apart. So I'm not sure if he'll make it back, but we sure appreciate you all joining us. And that was a lot of fun. I can't believe we got to sit down here for an hour with 2 former players and have such a great conversation.
Put up my comment. Put up my comment.
Oh,
I responded to Reek. I responded to good old Reek.
If Norvell goes to Bama, I guess Georgia will finally beat them. All righty, you got another caller. You are live with the Renegade Rundown.
Hey, this is Chip. How are you guys doing? Love the show.
Doing great, man. Glad to hear from you.
Hey, I was just wondering, with the scholarships, nobody's talked about this, but it's almost like playing 3-dimensional chess. And I'm wondering if there's a way with NIL, if some of these guys were paid enough, could the university give them discounted tuition, bring them on, and they come on as walk-ons, and then you can still keep all your scholarships? Just a thought. I know it's going to be something to figure out how they finagle all this.
No, that's a great question. We've talked about it, and we'll definitely go on about that one. So we appreciate you.
Thanks.
Yeah, we've talked about this a lot. If you're a Florida State fan, you know who CJ Campbell is. CJ Campbell is a guy who was a walk-on for a couple years. Everybody and their brother, including myself, reported that he would get a scholarship this summer. Well, the summer came, the summer went. He never got a scholarship. And he still ended up playing on Florida State's roster and was part of the 3 deep and was a big part of this team all year long as a preferred walk-on. And he had a NIL deal. I believe it was 3 battles in, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, he pretty much what our question was there from Skip, I believe, or Chip. It's one of those things. And especially if you're able to get in a Big Ten, you get $80-100 million every year. Money is different. Your NIL department is able to get more donations from boosters because that money's not needed there. It can be pushed over here. So everything rolls downhill, and I believe it's up to 105 people you can have on your roster, 85 scholarships, and then 15-20 walk-ons. So, yeah, if you had enough money to pay for those 15-20 walk-ons, pay whatever the scholarship entails. Pay that full money and then money on top for their actual to be competitive with what they would get with a scholarship and an NIL deal at a different school. Hell yeah, you could do that. You could technically stash 105 guys. The question is, in the transfer market that we have with the multiple transfers and stuff, who's going to be willing to hang around and be 3rd or 4th string if you're one of those last 20 players? Chances are, if you're that kind of talent, like you saw CJ Campbell do after the season, they're going to hit the portal and go out there and try to find a better opportunity for themselves.
This person's hilarious.
Oh, Reek doesn't stop, man. We love it.
No, he doesn't.
He's on it.
Imagine spending your night just getting on like another team's page. I mean, but that's fine. Hey, we appreciate it. I do appreciate it.
Yeah, it's funny.
Thank you, Reek.
Reek, are you not a member? Come on, man. If you become a member, I'll put 1 troll per show up on the big screen if you become a member.
Absolutely. And you can troll whatever you want to troll. Like,
I'll tell you what, for each level you go up. So if you become gold, which is the 2nd level up, I'll put 2 trolls up there for you. So there you go. For every level, we'll give you one troll up on the screen. But if not, we're just going to laugh at you. But we sure appreciate it. That's a good call. JL Coker's the only one that left and won a title, but that was long before the portal days. He was a graduate transfer, and
that was also not under Norvell though. So I thought we were talking about like people who transferred out under this system, right?
Yeah, that was 10 years before Norvell. Yeah, nope, they didn't even have. That's what I was saying. They didn't even have a transfer portal back then.
Yeah, and then you had the center, right?
Yeah, and that's also something that I haven't told people in here. If you're not aware, if you want to, help out or let some of these other people, like Jim was just saying, her comment doesn't look the same as the member people. If you want to gift memberships for other people and you want to do it that way, feel free. If there's somebody in the chat that's here all the time and you want to gift them a membership, that's also an option there in the settings.
Actually, here's what I'm going to do on Friday. I'm going to gift 5 memberships out of my own pocket to people when we have Carlos on. I'm going to gift 5.
You heard it.
Y'all better
here
have some
first.
Good comments. I'm going to gift 5. I'm going
to
gift 5.
Is that how you're going to pick it? So you're going to pick 5 comments throughout the show that you like, and those will be the ones you end up gifting?
Yes. And
okay,
they have to be my choice comments, which means they better be nice to me. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Make them funny.
The people aren't understanding the question, guys. Landon Dickerson, that wasn't this decade. And also LeBourne. We talked about that one. That's pretty good, but I think he left transition year. I don't think he was ever a Mike Norvell guy. And what Jim was just ooh-hooing about, Jeff Hill, the OG, one of the just like guys that's been here from day one. He's always been doing super chats. One of the first members we got, man. We sure appreciate you, bro. 10 memberships gifted. So I'm not even sure exactly how that works. Is it the first 10 people that sign up, or does Jeff Hill get to pick 10 people? This is the first time on the show, so we really, really appreciate that, Jeff. And 10 new people, 10 new members here for the Renegade Report. I'm not sure if I get to choose or he gets to choose or how that works, but we sure appreciate it, brother. It's random, Brad says.
Oh, okay. So, I'm gonna give 5 on Friday if you guys get in here. Yeah.
Bam. Jeff Hill gives 10 memberships. So that's 10 more people that'll be available for the first members only show, probably coming up next week. So that's pretty awesome. We sure appreciate you, Jeff Hill, making Renegade reports everywhere. Love it. And yeah, I guess that is it. The gifting is random when you gift it. I guess it just, when people come to sign up, I guess it gives it to the first 10 people or something like that. So,
okay. All
so that is awesome stuff. We are getting really late into this thing, guys. If you have any questions, speak now or forever hold your peace. You got a question for Jen on coaching realignment, anything FSU? You got a question about why I look so goofy, whatever the case is, get those questions in. The bat line is scrolling across the bottom of the screen, 850-495-1906.
Why did you change out of your Florida State Hawaiian shirt though?
I just got a little chilly. Got a little chilly. But dude, I'll rock it Friday.
25 degrees.
I'll rock it Friday. Yeah, it's not quite that cold here, but it's still chilly enough.
Y'all are weak.
Are you picking on me because I put my hoodie on?
What's in Jen's cup?
Boom, 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 boom. Mick Ultra. Coors Light.
I think there's somebody in the chat that can answer that question. Actually, I think you just did it.
Coors. I think it's Coors. I don't know why I go straight to Michelob. I think that's because what I drink when I drink nowadays. Just because I don't ever drink. But what did they say?
I guess Bradley's not in the chat. That's surprising. Usually he's in the chat.
Gotta say it was a good day. Go Knowles. And I gotta agree, Maggie. A great day. Another one of our members. When you bring back a linebacker that everybody and their brother, big networks, little networks, everybody was just freaking out about, when you get him back, That's killing two birds with one stone, literally. And anytime you add a experienced pass rusher like Sione Lolohea, aka Toko, a guy who may end up, and we got the exclusive when we talked to Big Dave. Toko, good chance he's the ringleader for the Hakas, the ringleader for bringing more Samoans in here for the next part of the portal. Dan Lanning goes to Alabama. Maybe you get a Mateo Uiagalelei. It'd be nice to get both sides of the brothers, because you know how that goes. The older brother and the younger brother usually have one that's more a little outspoken. You have the one we got the more quiet, show by example. So yeah, let's get them all in here. We want everybody in here. Encyclopedia asks if I am near Tally. Explain near, not quite. I'm about 180 miles away. There on Interstate 10. I'm over here by Navarre Beach off of Highway 87 South. So no, not really near Tally, but not too far. But guys, this is my dream. Between this, renegadereport.substack.com, my dream is I've been able to retire from my job and go for this thing full force. The next move is to retire Jen if she ever wants to do that, or at least have a check coming to where she could retire if she wanted to. So we're just moving forward like that. And amongst that process, somewhere along the way is getting credentials. So basically, that's all that's holding me back from moving to Tally is credentials. If I do get the credentials, I'll probably make that move pretty quick. So to answer that question.
So who's visiting this weekend? Is anybody visiting?
I accidentally hit a Reek one. I'm sorry. Who's visiting this weekend? We can't let that happen. Let's see. What is the date? It's the Tate. So this weekend, I'm not sure what exactly is in the plans for this weekend. We will get back with you guys Friday on if there's any transfers coming through and stuff. But I do know not this weekend, but next weekend is going to be your junior, sophomore, senior days. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for the camps at Florida State. So you're going to get a lot of guys. I know personally, my guy Ladarian Clarity here out of Pensacola, one of the top DBs in the nation. I believe he's top 150 player. He plays both sides of the ball for his team. I'm drawing a blank. I want to say he plays for Tate. I'll look that up and get it to you first. But he's a class of 2025 DB, like I said. He's a little bit undersized for what Patrick Surtain brings in, but I really think he's a playmaker, one of these guys that you can move all over the place. So I'm really hoping he locks down the offer. And also a 2026 kid out of Milton High School that I'm really big on, Caden Hall. He's safety, wide receiver, again, plays both sides of the field, but he is up there, 6'2", 6'3", will eventually be 180, 190 pounds by the time he gets to a Florida State or wherever he's going. He's 2026, so he's just a sophomore. But Caden Hall and Ladarian Clardy, both from Pensacola here locally, will be there. And I'm sure a lot of the top juniors and seniors from around the nation will definitely be here. Not here, but in Tallahassee next week for those junior senior day camps. But absolutely smooth criminal. It has been an absolute crazy week for me and Jen. We've been all over the place. And, we've been kind of conservative with trying to get guests and making sure we make everybody look good and keep the content up to a certain level. But, we kind of turned it loose and said, hey, we're going to start asking the people we want, if you thought about who the best person to possibly get on is, and she's been reaching out, we've been talking, and we've been getting some great guys on here. So it's been an absolute blessing. Getting somebody like Bryant McFadden on here was just absolutely amazing. And we appreciate you guys rocking with us.
Like, seriously, how good was he? He's so animated. He's so good. He's just, I don't know. I could listen to him all day. I really could.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things, like I told you when we were talking on that conversation off air, it's like, man, you don't get no better. I mean, he's the top desk at CBS Sports. Mm-hmm. They have that amazing podcast with 40-something thousand subscribers, all things covered. Make sure you go sub for that. Him and Patrick Petereson, second-round pick, a man's man in the NFL, respected. Pretty much just across, you won't hear something say anything bad about him. And he's just one of those guys. You could listen to him talk and just for hours and hours and hours. So hopefully we get him on again. And yeah, we were absolutely pumped to have him for the hour that we did. So we cannot complain. And make sure you go over there and check out all his hits and stuff that he's done for CBS, the one he left for to go do about Saban, I believe. And then I believe he had another one at 8 p.m. Eastern. So yeah, y'all go check out all that stuff. And and yeah, we'll get all the former players. I see people asking about different players that will we get them on this or that. We will see. You know,
I mean,
a
we
lot of
try.
guys share like our opinions, so it's like a little different. You get them on here, but yeah, we're gonna have people on with different opinions. We're gonna have all that stuff. So any Florida State player is pretty much welcome here, except for I would say it would be pretty tough to have PK on, just because. Wow, that conversation of Bowden would come up, but even him, I'd have him on. You know, that we could like break the internet having our
I would do it 100%.
Bobby Bowden battle on here if we had him on, or we could just you know, agree to disagree and go talk whatever. So
I really wanted to get my question into Bryant though and be like, how do I get Danny Cannell on?
Oh man, that would be that we could just make that a pure troll. Let's just troll Florida and Miami for the whole show. We got Danny killed out here. Yes, it would be awesome. There's a good thought. I don't even know at this point with the DNs we've brought in. This guy KH says, let's see if Harold Perkins, linebacker from LSU, will jump into the next portal. I just don't know. Like, he would obviously, same thing as Marvin Jones Jr. He'd come here and just be a pass rusher and be in a more natural position. But I don't know what the staff thinks. We'll just have to see. I just know they've got so many other guys working, and we don't know who they're working on behind the scenes. Yeah, I agree, Brad. Winky would be awesome too. Yeah, Danny Cannell, Bud Elliott, Ingram Smith, any of those guys, we would absolutely love to have them on, and we are big fans. Tomahawk Nation back in the day, from like 2010 to 2014, that was our shit. That was like what they did really set in motion kind of a lot of what everybody's doing. They kind of laid the roadmap for that back in the day. So ton of respect for Bud and Ingram.
So good.
What?
That's like where I used to get like my recruiting news, right? Like, I mean, you'd wait for that tweet to hit, or in that thread that they would have going.
Mm-hmm. Ongoing, offgoing recruiting thread, and then they did. They came out with the recruiting text alerts, in which, you know, still Tomahawk Nation. You know, they're still a great site. Get over there and check them out. But just in the heyday when Buddy Elliott and Ingram Smith were running it, there was nothing like it. I mean, I've never been a big pay site guy, but talking to anybody, because everybody in there paid for all the sites and stuff, they're absolute freaks. Tomahawk Nation was just like everything. It was like what Twitter is now. It was kind of like the nerve center. It seemed like you go to them comments and that's where you would find out everything first. I used to just stay in there all day long, refreshing. But yeah.
Oh, Mickey Mason, I like that idea. Mickey Andrews. Oh, I like that idea.
Oh wow, yeah, that's one of those dream guests for sure.
That's a dream guest for me, and I think that he would actually have a worse mouth than me, if you can imagine that.
We just have to turn him loose. I don't know if he's allowed. You know what I mean? A lot of that stuff is locker room talk, you know, football field talk. But if we could get him uncensored and get him unpolitically correct on the show and tell some of them stories, I would love it. I want to hear all the one-liners.
Okay, so Honcho just gave my dream guest, and that is my 100% dream guest is Sebastian Janikowski. And I'm sorry if I could get, like, you would have to sit here and just be like, I mean, somebody would have to give me like, all the Xanax, all the, like, because I don't know how I would act. Because, like, Seabass to me, oh my God, he is amazing. When he... That's how we do it in Poland. Like, I'm sorry, I can't help myself. Like, I love him. Eat a hot dog on the sideline, you know, have a sip of beer, go kick like a 60-yard field goal, and then come back and finish his hot dog. Like, I love Sebastian Jim. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
Like,
the Polish powder keg. And Gator Hater says, get Jameis Winston. Yes, you best believe that. Whatever way we have to reach out, we've sent some bat signals out there. And if you are watching, we would absolutely love to have you on anytime. So you just hit me up. Yeah, Reek, Jalen Ramsey. Hell yeah. If you're watching Jalen Ramsey, we would love to have you on. That would be an awesome conversation as well. But guys, we are right here on 2 hours. We got about 7 minutes left, not even 6 minutes. So if you have any questions for me or Jen, speak now or forever hold your peace. And we're about to get out of here. If you don't, the phone numbers up there now. Anything you want to touch on before we get out of here?
Well, Smooth Criminal says Chris Ricks might be interesting. What do you think, George?
Yeah, do Chris Ricks. He's is he the one that's on the board? Or am I mistaking him with somebody else? The Florida State quarterback on the board of trustees. Is that him?
No, that's Drew Weatherford.
That's Weatherford. That's right. Yeah, no, I know Ricks is doing something. What is he up to? I've seen him something, coaching football or something. But yeah, no, Chris Ricks would be a fun one for sure. He takes a lot of heat, just kind of the time he was the quarterback and expectations and stuff. So he would be a fun one to talk about for sure. Well, all right, guys. Looks like y'all don't have any questions.
Actually, Reek said we have a great show. Thank you, Reek. Thank you, Reek.
Appreciate it, man. A little bit of sugar from the Jeff Colhane, bar none. Yeah, for sure. I've got to talk to Jeff Colhane when I was doing the All FSU spaces with Pete the Greek. We had him on. He's really, really cool guy. So yeah, we'd like to have him on as well. Derek Brooks, dream guest. I mean, you want to talk about somebody who carries weight. Derek Brooks carries weight with Florida State.
Oh my God. I don't know that I'd be able to talk. If Derek Brooks was on the other end, I'm telling you right now. Oh, Timmy. Oh, Dan Kendra. That's another good one. My God, right? You guys are great.
What could have been? But all right, we'll close it off with this final question. Has FSU broke ground with new facilities yet? Have they started the remodel of the stadium? Just wondering if you have heard any new news in a while. Yes, absolutely. So much so that it's kind of up in the air. People are worried about the spring game may not happen because the construction is going to be going on right in the middle of that. So yeah, that could affect the spring game. Don't be surprised if certain areas are shut off in the stadium or certain lots are shut down because construction equipment is there. But yes, all that construction is getting going. I don't want to lie and tell you an exact date, but I'm pretty sure the idea is for the football only facility to be ready for the 2025 season by the time the season gets here. And the same thing with the stadium renovations, but I could be wrong, so I don't want to lie. Do you have a better answer for him on that, Jen?
No, I think, okay, hang on. Inside linebacker Terrence Ferguson has been crystal balled to Florida State, by the way.
Did you I think you froze up, Jen.
Oh, did I freeze? Terrence Ferguson
we lost
has
Jen.
been. Uh-oh. Can you hear me now?
Yep, now I can hear you.
Okay. Terrence Ferguson has been crystal ball to Florida State.
Okay, let's go. Another offensive lineman headed to Florida State, according to Crystal Balls. That is the one I want to get right. So let's make sure that we get that, since we had a little bit of a confusion there. Make sure we get the right position here.
Yeah. yeah. There you go. That's the one you really wanted, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, interior offensive lineman. It says Terrence Ferguson, but I'd like to hope maybe they can, how they like to cross-train guys, and they've brought a lot of guards in and worked them at tackle. We'll see what happens. Of course, we've got Robert Scott coming back. We've got Darius Washington coming back. You've got Julian Armella. Jalen Early. Is he? I'm not sure. I don't think Jalen Early is attached. Thinks he's coming back too as well. So yeah, just another big name coming in on the offensive line to go along with. Did we have another offensive line transfer? I'm not sure.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep you any longer, but I'm just asking: is DJ left-handed or right-handed? I think he's right-handed, right?
He's right-handed. Yes, DJU. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you? This kid. Would you not see him move to I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I'm just overthinking things.
I mean, you didn't really give me anything to work on.
No, I mean, would they actually move him to a right guard instead of
that's what he is as a guard.
Yeah, I know, but
guard
like,
or
would they
center.
just move him to the right side, or would they move him to center?
I mean, yeah, that's kind of what I was talking about. I'm not sure what to see him get in here, but no, he is a interior offensive lineman, but they could possibly move him outside, but they don't. I mean, right or left guard in this, like the way Alex Atkins does things, it's really interchangeable. Right tackle and left tackle is a little bit more, it really matters, like you were talking about with the way they throw. But as far as center and the guard positions, that's not. They'll flip flop them. It doesn't really.
Because dang, I mean, I'd love to have like a center that was just, I don't know. Maybe that's just
322 pounds. Yeah. But good luck getting that thing away from Maury Smith. I've
Oh, no,
talked
no, I
for
didn't mean it
years
that way.
about him possibly losing it and thinking guys are going to take over, but he keeps holding that thing down. So we just hopefully he can stay healthy for this season. But no, definitely a big pickup. And like I said, he was of the offensive lineman we were talking to, he was the guy that I wanted the most. And the other guy, the Furman guy, I was told by Chris today, reminded they're not even after him anymore. He's moved on. So yeah. There you go, guys. Terrence Ferguson gets a crystal ball, and if you get him in the defensive end, Young, that would put you at 12 guys right there. Bam.
Okay. Well, that sounds good to me. I'm happy with it.
All righty. Well, if that covers it all, we are going to get out of here. Look at that. Exactly 2 hours. We appreciate everybody. Make sure you go follow Jen Santy 1890. Again, that's at Jen Santy 1890 on X. She's known as Jen Knoll 2013 over there. You can follow me at Renegade Report 1. Again, memberships are available. It's right there where you hit subscribe. So either there's Spear Addicts, man. I wanted you to jump in, brother. We'll keep going. You want to jump in?
Yeah, come on.
I'll send you the link, dog. But yeah, make sure everybody, the memberships are available. You can get the memberships. It's right there where you hit subscribe. You can also go to renegadereport.substack.com and get subscribed over there. We do the audio only version of this thing. Downloadable version when we get done. Sometimes it's directly, sometimes it takes me a couple hours, but no, we get the audio download versions, and the paid subscribers get that immediately after the show, and then like 12 hours or the next day I make it available for everybody, because I know you can't always sit here on YouTube for the whole time. So we try to keep everybody an option. We want everybody to be able to join us. So Angelo Smith says, come on in and break some news, Chris. No, bro, I'm busy.
He says no.
Nah, bro, I'm busy with NIL for an O lineman from the transfer portal. So that goes to tell you everything you need to know. So there's another crystal ball for you there. So bam, Portal Kings. This thing has gone nuclear. Keep my coach's name out of your mouth. Keep Alex Atkins out your mouth. Keep John Papucci's out your mouth. We got this shit going on, and we will see you guys. It is Wednesday, so we may actually take a day off. We probably will not see you guys tomorrow, but we maybe do some clips, cut some different clips from the DJU conversation, maybe do a couple funny shorts. Who knows? Maybe go live for a few minutes if we get a big commitment or something tomorrow. But besides that, we will see you Friday. What is that? 7 Eastern we're planning on?
Yes, 7 Eastern, 6 Central. God, I should probably double check. No,
we got plenty of time. We got plenty of time till then. But we will see you Friday. Go Noles.
Yep. Bye, guys. Thank you.